Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, before we get into the second episode of Word on the Streets, I want to explain a few things so people aren't so confused. This was our first attempt at a podcast, but I'm uploading it like it's our second episode because we started off pretty rough. We were pretty shy and awkward at first, and some things didn't get addressed like I wanted them to. And also, everybody else was a little buzzed from partying at PRI. So, trying to get everybody controlled took a while. But for those of you who don't know who Tony Palitano and Tess Wood is, Tony is a famous, I would say legendary street racer out of California who is well known for driving the Grey Mare. Stick shift Mustang, holds a few records. Badass car known for doing insane wheelies on the street, beating lots of different fast cars on the street. He's pretty much street raced his entire life and has a lot of cool stories to tell. Tony is in a relationship with Tess, and they've been together for quite a few years. You guys might know Tess as Miss Midnight Maverick. She is famous for driving her pro-charged Maverick. She is one tough cookie, and she is a hell of a driver. And she also has some pretty cool stories and experiences to share. And over the past, year or so, we finally got to start hanging out with them. And they come every once in a while from California and come and hang out at our shop. And we've built a pretty good relationship with these two. And me and Billy are happy to call them really good friends. So the podcast starts out just a little slow, and there might be some plot holes at first, but this was our first attempt. Things were a little rocky at first, but if you stick through the first little bit, it gets pretty interesting, and we talk about some pretty good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy, and this was our very first attempt at a Word on the Streets podcast.
You gotta do it better than that.
Hello.
There you
said
go.
Billy only.
Hello, I'm Billy.
No, that's you.
Hello,
You're the
I'm
only
Billy.
one that does that successfully and gets away with it.
Hello, I'm Billy. I'm very monotone. I don't have any personality.
Now the truth comes out.
Add alcohol.
Okay, so hopefully everybody sounds
This is Billy, and this is Billy on alcohol.
Same thing.
The camera's going.
But different.
Been gone.
Okay.
Oh shit.
All right, everybody. This is our first podcast on Word on the Streets. I have no idea.
Is that the official name?
Yeah, Word on the Streets is
Word
our
on the
official name.
streets. Like the Key Glock song.
Word on the street is.
Word on the Street is
Until
your
we get
first official
monetized, we'll
podcast.
probably honestly use it in the video.
that'd be
we
cool.
use the real song.
I have no idea how this is going to go.
Well,
You guys, so just to set the scene, this is PRI weekend, and we're at the
2022.
Airbnb, posted up here.
Post
And-
bar, post strip club, post everything.
Yeah, you guys did the, what was it? Drag Illustrated after party or whatever.
We went to the Drag Illustrated party, had a good time. It was pretty packed out, so we went next door to Tiki Bob's, and it was an even better time. Had probably seven shots of Jaeger
Did
bombs.
you really?
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh my God.
I'm
If you're
actually
counting,
You
you're
had
like
like
a sissy
you
boy.
had 4 at the Drag
I'm
Illustrated
not a
thing.
drinker. I drink like once a year when I come here.
You
so
lie.
I really don't.
Unfortunately, this happens to be our first podcast. I am the only one that is sober, I believe. Me and Allison.
We
No,
walked
I'm-
you
I
guys
don't
off the
drink.
couch when we
I
came
really
in.
don't drink.
You don't. You lie.
Tony was a very responsible adult. I offered him a beverage and he turned it down.
Did you really?
He didn't even force it on me even more.
What?
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, no.
It's like trying to force your dad to like drink something.
No,
like,
you had a shot of tequila.
I did with him, and it tasted like ass, like I thought it would.
Okay, so everybody's loosened up.
And
I don't know
and
what's
we,
gonna
Then we
happen.
came home and woke you guys up.
Yeah, we took a nice nap before all the chaos came in. Everybody came in with White Castle, and
We had a good time though. We had
Did we
fun
say
today.
that we're here? Did you?
Yeah,
Did I miss that? They said
What?
Tony and Tess were here? I don't think.
I don't know who you are.
Okay,
Who are
so our first guests
Yes.
are Tony Palitano, the one and only, one of the greatest
Oh,
stick
no.
shift
Okay.
drivers.
No,
Stick shift
it's not
guy.
just Tony Palitano. It is Grandpa Hollywood,
Grandpa
Oh,
Hollywood.
geez.
driver of the Grey Mare.
Driver
AV
of the
boys.
Grey
Of the
Mare.
AV
That's what he's
boys.
known for.
He is the stick shift master.
You don't gotta bullshit me. Okay. But who
Yeah.
are you?
I'm nobody.
You're Miss Midnight Maverick.
I am absolutely nobody.
Jesus, I'm gonna keep on going on like this.
You're not a nobody. You're somebody.
Famous, right over there. No.
You have Mavericks. That's
You're-
pretty cool.
I have some cars. I have some cars. Someone got mad at me for having another one. It's fine.
Can we talk about like you guys too? I mean, I know
Sure.
you guys.
We talk
This
about
is
it
about
anyway.
you.
Okay.
No, it's not
There's
about us.
absolutely-
I
So-
mean, we're all racers at this table.
If you're
so-
listening or watching this podcast and you don't know who the fuck Tommy is,
that little handsome double.
What's
Tommy
up, right?
over there, driver of the Falcon, of the Prodigy,
This is the real deal.
No, he's
the
And he's
Prodigy.
becoming a wrench too.
yeah,
Trying.
Yeah. He's getting better and better.
yeah.
He helped me put the Falcon back together this week.
He is pro engine builder, pro fabrication specialist,
Tuner now.
pro
Yeah.
tuner.
So most people that are here listening to this probably came from Street Racing Channel.
Nope. Who's that? They all know Tommy. That's it. They came for Tommy.
Well,
Yeah. Tommy's the biggest star here.
Coolest guy in the
trying
world.
To have a cool podcast, I guess. But I don't even know. We'll see what happens. But
Well,
I wanted to start this, me and Billy, both as something to do in the winter when things slow down, racing slows down, and to be able to. Brendan's.
You made more noise than what you would have if you walked.
Yeah.
Wow.
it's like his 110-pound body turned into 300, crawling across the floor. But no, I think it's a good idea. Like you said, when stuff gets slow and
It was saturated for a while. There was a lot of people doing it, and now I think it's died down. You know, the novelty of it has worn off, and I think it's a good time to start something up. You know,
Over time, we've traveled the country street racing and, drag racing, doing all kinds of cool stuff over the last 4 years. I mean, you guys have been doing it longer than I have. I've only been racing.
and when did you start street racing?
me
Well, I've only.
Yeah.
or him.
No, you. It's about you and Tess.
Oh, but he was telling the story right now.
Well, I was just saying, we've traveled all over these crazy places and met all these people, and all these people have had really cool stories. And I want to give a platform for all these people to tell their stories and how they came up. And, everybody has really interesting stories. So I just wanted to give a platform for everybody to talk about those things.
I agree.
Well, I guess I started street racing when I was 19 when I bought my Mustang, but never, all the years I did street race, never went and traveled like Billy did. Like that was awesome, him going all the different states and going out of his bubble, whereas we never, I mean, we did, but Stiddy's over, traveled like 2 hours. And up until like a few years back, we would travel to Arizona for some street racing, but
You probably didn't have to go. There was plenty of action where you were at.
there was a lot to do, but still, I mean, to venture out, I mean, this is before, anything of social media of any kind was about. So you just go do your thing, and no one really knew who you were just by word of mouth. So I think the word travels a lot faster when you have social media. Like, oh, you did this, look at this guy, he did this, just like the great car. Doing a wheelie, that's like the claim to fame is doing a wheelie against a Porsche. We didn't even record it, and then somebody else did and made that whole thing. Anyway, if that wouldn't have happened, a lot of things wouldn't have fell into place because of like Chief seeing that, and that's what got us our first deal on Street Outlaws. And
Did you have any idea back then what it would entail?
no, we weren't doing anything on purpose. We were just racing.
You're just doing
Yeah,
it.
so Tony Palitano is 19 years old, probably just got out of high school. What were you thinking you wanted to do with your life? Why were you street racing? did you what was going on in Tony's head when you were 19?
I just always wanted to go fast, just drag racing and stick shifts and drag racing and launching cars on slicks and breaking shit. That was
But you had to see that.
You watched your dad race a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was 8 or 10 years old, going out in his olds. But I just loved that. And that was real muscle cars back then. That was.
And what year was that when you were out of high school, fresh out of high school?
Well, with my dad, 8 or 10 would have been 1987, 88, which was, back then it was like muscle cars. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the Fox body stuff really had
Kragers and
M&H tires
yeah.
and, you know, big
Slapper
block,
bars.
a lot of big block cars, stick shift cars, but they were all 70s Chevelles, 60s Novas, muscle cars that you would see like around. Nothing like the modernist thing was a Fox body, which was barely coming into play because there wasn't any parts for them yet, but there was parts for all those other cars.
Right.
But the parts base still wasn't that good. I mean, you had all factory Chevy parts. You know, your dad and I have talked about it a bunch. Iron heads, open chamber heads.
Yeah, you had to get creative to go
Yeah.
fast.
You know, rowdy cams, these things they would sound like they're going to bust off at 1050, but they're going 12s, you know.
Yeah.
And nitrous was still coming into play too. Really big, so that's what got me the bug. So, and then from there, just bought my first Mustang when I was 19 and started doing stuff to it.
What year was your first Mustang?
I was 19, so it would have been 1998, 99. I had it for about a year, and then I crashed it on the freeway. But that had a blower on it and just little bolt-ons and stuff, and it went 11s, mid-11s. And then from there, I bought the car I have now, and then more cars, and escalated even more when I met her. So
were you born in California?
yeah,
So born and raised.
in the same
Born
town
and
I live in,
raised,
Yeah. So
just like you guys, born and raised in the same town.
In the AV.
Yeah.
what's crazy to me is like we are from, going off what we just said, you born and raised in California, me and Billy born and raised in Hebron, Ohio, a small town. And here we are sitting now, we're almost all the way across this country, and we have this similar passion of street racing, and now,
Just brought us together.
it's brought us together to where I didn't think that was even possible,
Just
YouTube
because of
and
cars.
everything, and
Social
it's made
media.
it so crazy,
Yeah,
He
yeah.
hit me up on Instagram one day. I was like, "What's up?"
Yeah,
I
that's
was
it.
like,
But if this
I've
would have
been watching
happened
you
in,
forever.
imagine if if we were the same age in 2002, like it wouldn't happen because the social media hadn't blown up enough
Yeah.
to see who's going on. I mean, you'd be doing your thing, I'd be doing our thing with my people, and it never would have happened until later. We'd just be telling stories. But the platform just allowed us to, people to connect, and I mean, Lunchbox was a huge part in connecting with he connects with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
He was like the kind of the guy that was the mouth of the operation.
yeah, big.
He's the face of it. He's like the.
Yeah. I owe a lot of what I am, even though he's not into it anymore, to him doing what he did, and of course me being
He was
the
always
monkey.
negotiating.
Me being the monkey in the car that would just be sent down a road, but I didn't know any better. I was just I'll do it, I'll race, just something fun to do. Get the car ready, let's go again.
He had faith in you.
Yeah, it's true. We talked about it the other night. It was a pretty cool time. But like I said, we didn't know what we were doing. We just hit the right time of how YouTube and everything you could put something on YouTube and people would watch it. And we did a big wheelie, we did this, we had a good program, and it all connected, and we didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah.
It's not just that. It was the right time. Like Street Outlaws was just showing up. They had just had their first season when you guys did the Porsche.
Yeah. Like I said, it was an
Was that
audition.
around, when did you race the Porsche? Was that 05, 06?
No, 2000.
Like 2011, 2012?
So it was, okay. So it was,
Yeah, it was right.
Maybe 2000.
That was basically the
Yeah.
audition tape for us to be on Street Outlaws and do what we did. I mean, of course, there was other guys that were on it too, but that was a big deal.
I remember watching that video back in high school in study hall. And seeing that video, it was like, wow, I want to do shit like that. You know what I mean?
And now look what you've done. Now you're an inspiration for a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. You see something and you want to do that, and you do whatever you can to do that. And
you grabbing second in the air, not being able to see the road, coming down, driving around a Porsche, and everybody's just freaking out. You know what I mean? Giving somebody the move, driving around them, wheels up. Like that was, you are probably the reason for 50% of, I don't know, but a lot of Fox body builds. You know what I mean?
No, I've gotten that a lot, especially the guy like we just seen at Aeromotive.
Yeah.
Like he inspired me
came
to
up to you
like.
and he was like so excited that he got to meet you because he drives a stick shift. He built a stick shift car just because of this guy. And
I was just driving stick shifts just because that was just something that my brother said that men do. You know, when you drag race, you don't put automatics in, you fucking put stick shifts in. I'm like, okay, and that was just beat into my head. So honestly, we were fools. That a stick shift street race car, that's stupid to go that with that much money. You know, thousands and thousands of dollars on a race where you could miss second, third, and fourth, and it's harder to get it right. And who knows if it's going to be fast. But
to pull that off, there's not many that can pull that off.
More people now. I mean, the wheelie thing that happened, there wasn't many wheelies on the street. That just happened. It wasn't intentional or anything. And the other ones were intentional. That for obviously magazines,
for photo shoots and stuff.
And the one with her, which only took. It's funny. So the one for the magazine, that picture, and the picture with her, both took 2 takes, and it both spun the first take. And I would go out there, and like the editor Henry, he's like, "How many times do we need to do this?" And I'm like, "I should just take it. It'll do it the first time. Like I just know where to put the car at and loosen this up and put the weight here, and it'll do it." And I did my burnout. I backed up. I did 2 burnouts. I backed up, and then I think on the second burnout I backed up. And Kelly must have put me a little bit into VHT, and it just spun. It went, nothing happened. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then
Kelly.
It was just an accident. I don't know. It was just it just happened, And that's the same guy. Kelly is the same guy that backed me up every single race on the street.
Yeah.
No one else ever did. It was always him backing me up and doing his thing. And then it's funny, like the 2 times. Well, he wasn't there when I did it with her, but Brian backed me up into the VHT, I think, on that one, too.
Did you really?
Well, that car doesn't spin.
You still did a wheelie, though.
That car doesn't spin.
You still did a wheelie. The only reason the first pass on that picture wasn't good was because my hair was in the shirt.
Were you scared at all?
Mm-mm.
You trust him?
Yeah. He's a good driver.
Well, I'm on 2 fucking wheels. I mean, I'm a good driver. Ain't nothing I can do in there. It was just doing its thing.
That was an epic photo, for sure.
I don't think we realized how epic it was going to be until after it was done.
There's nothing really like it, honestly.
It's weird. Like, why not? Why wouldn't there be something like that? Why wouldn't someone go out there and do that?
And that was the thing that Chad thought of to do years before. Like, let's do this. We should need to do this for Team Z. And just never, the car wasn't there, or there wasn't a girl that could do it. And then finally, it all landed. And I'm lucky it was her that did it. I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else.
Yeah.
I still see that picture getting shared, and I just seen it today on Facebook. It was re-edited in a way, and somebody was using it on their flyer for an event or
Tom
something.
Gunner is using it on his flyer. He showed us
it's like a Grand Theft Auto remake.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool, but yeah, it's just crazy that it's still going around and being used. But.
So you started street racing when you were like, what, 18, 19?
19 was my first Mustang.
When did you start street racing?
When I was probably the same age.
Same age?
Well, the first,
Not like you did with your
The first street racing meet that I went to, I was like 14.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It was when, what do you call it? Fast and Furious first came out, yeah, and all the Hondas would meet up at like a Walmart parking lot, and it was absolutely terrible. And one weekend there was a huge bust, like cops blocked in the whole parking lot and everybody got busted. I wasn't there, thankfully, but it was like a huge, people still talk about it. It was like the Walmart.
I wish I was alive during that time, or doing that stuff.
No, it's terrible. Okay, so when he was going to the
I would have loved
Saturday
to see
meetup,
Fast and Furious in the theater when it came out.
That was fun.
the Saturday meetup when like the Camaros and the Mustangs and the Chevelles and all the cool shit was out when he was alive, before I was alive. That was the cool thing. I wish I could have been there for that, but what I went to was a bunch of Hondas and just racers and just...
You'd have to sift through it to find something. And it was usually like a catfish Camaro that had some bolt-ons or something.
It was terrible. Yeah. Absolutely terrible. But...
What got you hooked on it, though?
My dad was
so
always
terrible.
like... My dad was always into cars, always. But it wasn't... He had a Fox body, but it was some convertible Fox body that caught on fire and just, it was a whatever. But he was into like Baja Bugs and pre-runners, and we did the Baja 500 or the Baja something, Baja 1000 down in Mexico. And it was always cars. And then I went to high school and I went into auto shop, and we went to Pomona to their drag race, high school drag race thing. And that was kind of what got me into drag racing. But I don't know. And then I went to the street races all the time and saw this guy. And
so you met at the street races?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
She was street racing her. I was still street racing before she had her black car, and then she got the black car, and then.
This guy taught me how to do a burnout on the street.
2011.
Mhm.
Somewhere in there.
That's a bond.
11 years ago.
Well, yeah, she was married too, so.
Yeah, I was married to some other guy, and this guy came out and taught me how to do a burnout. Terrible.
Somebody's got to teach you.
Yeah.
Might as well be this guy. This guy does some burnouts, let me tell you.
Oh, I beat the hell out of yours. That's the best burnout that thing's ever had.
Yeah, the first burnout you ever did, I was like, I didn't know you could do that long. Usually we just go for like 4 or 5 seconds and we're done. We're good. This dude's over here. Like, is he gonna stop? Like,
tires are like melting off. But
yeah. I think they're good, buddy.
We said they had a good burnout because that shit didn't go when it was me driving it.
So what was the first like SRC video that you guys saw or like recognized him and made you decide to reach out to him? Like what was that video that you're like, hey, these guys are kind of cool?
It was, I don't know exactly what video it is, or it was. It was just, I remember the truck, and you guys were parked on the grass. You parked the truck on the grass, and something happened to the truck. And then your dad was there, like, talking to you, like, well, what is it? And you're like, I don't remember the details of it. And then I had asked Lunch about who you were, like, are these guys fast? Like, I'm always comparing, like, when I'm into something, I always want to be better than whatever, like flooring. That's what I do.
Sizing me up.
I'll size you up.
He's
I
terrible.
want to know if we're better. I want to know, because if you're better than us, why are you better? If someone's better at something, well, how are they better? And then I want to be better than that. That way I'm ahead of the game again. Or I can learn something. Maybe I can learn, like, and that's not what made me hit you up. But Lunchy was like, yeah, they're cool kids, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then I just hit you up. Here we are.
What was your first thought when you got a message from this guy?
Oh, yeah, I never asked you that.
I fangirled a little bit.
Did you really?
I think I can't remember who I told, but I was like, hey, the guy that drives the Grey Mare just messaged me. Like, this is cool. I've been watching him since I was in high school.
Well, you did message me back, and after like we talked a little bit, I'm like, I said something, something or other, and then you said, yeah, dude, I've always liked the gray car. I watched you guys a lot. Watched you. I used to look up to you. I watched you in class, just like you said.
The racing world is a small world.
And I thought you were just fucking with me because your platform is so huge now. It's like, why would you want to fuck around with some old dude that fucking drove a car 10 years ago? But
I don't care about that.
But it's I guess it all makes sense. I mean, we're not idiots.
We both let our nuts hang on the street.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we got in common, and have a great respect for what you've done. And
I think it goes like with, if you can do something that can help somebody's life or change someone's direction and make them do something, and you're not doing it on purpose, you're just going at something because you love it, it's your passion, and you get followers or people that want to do that same thing because it inspired them, that's great. Like, you could be happy and die, like, with that kind of, you know, shit going on. I mean, you guys get it all the time now.
yeah.
But I think that's great what you can do when you can help somebody out that way.
Do you feel like, since you've gone racing with us for a decent amount of time now, like you went to both of the No Prep Kings that we were in, and do you feel like you've learned a decent bit hanging around with us? I know that we have benefited a lot, and my favorite memory so far of you coming, you guys being in, first of all, when you guys come racing with us, we have like, the vibe is just so much better.
The chemistry goes up.
You guys had a very positive, like, there's no, like, anything can happen. It's like, it's all right, keep your head up, doesn't matter, we got to keep moving forward. It's just that vibe of positivity and just keep moving forward, and nothing's going to set us back.
We're always in the race. Like,
yeah,
we're always in the fight. Like, you can always do something to be better or make
Always.
something work.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a way to win. You're never out. You know
never.
what I mean?
Yeah, I've when they're with us in racing, I've always.
It's just like when we won over there at KD.
That's what I was getting to.
Like, honestly, after first or second round, I was like, well, we're probably going to go out here soon. You know what I mean? The truck wasn't 100%. It wasn't going straight. It was spinning after it hit the transition. And I was just waiting to get eliminated. You're like, oh, let's try this. Let's try it. And I asked you what you thought we should do. And you gave me some advice on the suspension and the anti-roll bar. And, it benefited, and the truck picked up. And it's just having somebody like that has some experience to come in and say, hey, what would you do in this situation? And having the humbleness to take advice at the same time, we mesh well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, anything that I can learn from somebody, I'm always going to soak in. And if I could teach somebody that same stuff that I learned, or I broke stuff, or I made all these wrong decisions and all the right ones, together with it, and I could show somebody to them and explain it to them how I learned, and they can pick up and not do this stupid shit that I did, or just go away from blowing something up or losing this, and going right to winning. I'll help that anytime. So I try and do with her, and I've learned stuff from you guys too, like to go to these races where you guys go through 30 or 40 cars and one night and just go through all these rounds and win with minimal tools and minimal this, and like it's just and your brother like drives the car good, and you're like reading the road good, like that's a good compilation too, man. Like, you can't. Yeah, I'm just one thing that said, hey, let's just tighten up the anti-roll bar of this, but you guys were doing it anyways,
We're doing it, but sometimes you're missing that one little thing to get you to the winner's circle. There's one little thing, and there's a million ways to lose a race. You know what I mean? But there's only one way to win it.
Well, I think
Sometimes you need an outside perspective
Yeah.
to look into it. When you're doing the same thing over and over again, you don't have that outside perspective to
Sometimes
be
you
like,
get in a
hey,
rut.
you're paying attention to all of this here and you're doing great. But this thing over here, like, you should probably look at that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Tony brought to the table that
He
weekend.
keeps everybody on their game.
Tony's definitely, like, he's on point on a lot of things that a lot of people don't pay attention to, and he doesn't realize how meticulous he is at certain things, but he is.
Well, the thing is like when you guys are racing, you guys are really good, and you guys have won a lot of races even before I ever came into the picture. So the only way to get better is be around somebody that can go faster than you. Like my buddy Brian always brings up this snowboarding analogy. Like when we all snowboard with each other, we're all fast with each other. And then we had a buddy that came with us that was so much better than us that would go down the hill so much faster that we tried to keep up, and it made us faster. So what I'm saying is like me being around you, maybe there's things like when you went to Texas, you saw how we did things, and maybe that gave you inspiration to do the truck and lean on the Falcon more and do this and figure things out more so you can be faster, because you guys were already faster than everybody around you. And I'm not saying that we have to race each other to do it, but it's just another perspective of how to do something and lean on something, and you have the talent to do this and you have the capability to do this, but you haven't touched it yet because you never had to.
Right.
Well, you're the fastest person in
I was
the
stuck in
classes
that
that you
mindset
run,
of, okay, 25, 26 pounds of boost, it'll live there and we can win some races. And, I don't think it'll make much more power at 32, so we don't really need to go up there. Next thing you know, we're on 35, 40 pounds of boost, cranking it up, and hey, it makes more power up there. Yeah. We're winning more races,
There's definitely a dynamic because if you look at his background and he's broken, a few records. The cars he races and builds are featherweight, losing all this weight, like
Titanium
wherever you
bolts.
can. Everything is, built to the max. And everything is pushed to the limit. And I think our approach is a little more conservative, I'd say,
for sure.
compared to what, some of the stuff that they've done.
There was a lot of, that's why part of you coming around is why I'm taking so much weight out of the truck. Because I'm like, well, look how good the Mare did and how light it was. It didn't have that much power.
It's easier on stuff,
while
too.
you're there, why not? I mean, with everything going small tire now, you're going to have a lot of competition, and you're going to have to do everything that you possibly can to be competitive if you have all these people coming into small tire. Like,
it's cheaper to lighten something than it is to
make more
add
power.
horsepower.
I mean, I get asked these questions all the time. Like, how did you get the Mare so light? Like, what did you do? My car weighs 2,700 pounds. That car weighs 1,990 pounds. I'm like, how big is your fuel cell? What are you doing? Like, how big's your battery? Like, is it a race car? Is it what's your goal? If your goal is a race car and you don't care to drive it, okay, why do you have a 10-gallon fuel cell? You don't need that. You can, if you're on gas, you can use a 1-gallon fuel cell. Why do you need a battery that weighs 40 pounds? There's a battery that weighs 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Why do you need cable that weighs this much? You can buy aluminum cable that weighs half as much. And everything adds up.
Every little
It's
thing
not
adds
just that.
up.
Like, someone asked me the other day, and I said, stare at your car. If there's a part of your car that you're staring at and you can cut it off and it doesn't affect the drivability or the race ability of your car, then cut it off. Like, just get rid of it.
Unless you're trying to get into a specific street car class, which we aren't. All
Not
the
just
small
that,
tire
like,
rules are just wide open.
You
anymore.
still had your heater box and your whole, like, everything behind your dash, didn't you?
I had the heat, air conditioning, everything.
That was just along for the ride.
I still had
It was
that
there.
in my car
The
when
dash
I met
had never
him.
been out of my truck until a few weeks ago.
Yeah, unnecessary wire, everything gone.
Yeah.
Like, everything weighs something, and I just go over and over and over and over, and then once that's done, then of course I started buying titanium this and titanium that and carbon fiber and.
He cut too much weight out of his car. He cut the door bars out of his car, and the door wasn't rigid enough to like close, so he had to put an extra like aluminum strip into his door.
No, that was just so that's so the door handle can work. It's bracing it, but I need to put carbon on there. But anyhow,
The door was too flimsy,
no,
and you had to put an
no,
aluminum strip.
that's for the rod.
You,
No, because there's a metal that goes all in the inside of the door panel, and then the rod has a clip that holds it. So when you hit the door handle, the rod doesn't bend and it has rigid.
he cut too much out of his car, and he had to add to
Well,
it.
yeah, I knew what I had to do when I did it. The Snowflake has the same thing in it,
Yeah.
but it's got the stock door panel and power windows on it still.
Back when you were street racing that car a lot, what was your mentality going into a street race like that? With all that money on the line, you're racing somebody and everybody's counting on you to win. There's a lot of people that got money on it.
It's the adrenaline is so bad, and it's like firing off, and my heart's pumping so bad that I almost don't want to do it. I just want to go home. I was like, I don't. So it's just cranking, and I'm like, fuck, and then it just like I do the burnout and then it all goes away. It's like I just focus in and then it happens, and you know we came out winning 99% of the time, so it was fun at that point. But when you lose, it's never fun. But
isn't it funny how a burnout will do that? Like everything just goes away.
everything just
And
goes
then you're
away.
just locked in.
Everything just goes away.
Tony, you are not somebody who likes to lose.
No.
No.
I'm not either.
I mean, I lost that one race at the back of trails, and that's why I did everything to the car.
Yeah, that's
more.
what it took.
Like, I'll just go full force and whatever I can.
Losing is so important, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where the growth happens, and so you got to be ready to lose, but you have got to.
If you race enough, you're gonna lose
Yeah, you've got to.
at some point.
You gotta learn to
I
take
don't
it.
care if you're John Milner, you're gonna lose eventually.
Well, that's funny. This is brought up because Lunchbox, when we were talking about this the other day, he said, "I didn't care about how many thousands of dollars was there. I didn't care about anything. I just cared about winning. I wanted you to win every fucking time that car came out. That was more important. I wanted the fact that we were winning that much to resonate through everyone. That everyone just knew that this team is not to be fucked with." And he's like, "And we did it." And he said that meant something to me. I'm like, "Oh, cool. I'm glad I could be a part of that, you know." I mean, it comes down to the person in the driver's seat, and you have it too, you know, like you're focused. When I was we were in Florida and I was like, your window was down and shit, I'm like trying to roll it up and you're just like this in there. Like you didn't even know it. There could have been a fucking bomb going off over there. You like wouldn't have lost focus. And that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that was a good night. I mean, there's nothing. I've been through a lot of stressful situations, and I feel like there's nothing that can really bother me too much to throw me off.
It's the silence that gets to them.
Right. If
The
things are
guy
just going
screaming
too
in your
good, it's
ear when your
almost
window's
like-
down is not. That's
Yeah.
not serious, but
He's made a hell of a lot more hits in that truck than I've made in the Mare. Just over time, we're able to go out and you have a street down the street that you could just go test on. But the more laps you go into something, the more you just it's like blinking your eyes and
I've been driving it since I was 15.
Yeah. The Mare I've driven a lot, and I've been out of shape with that. I've put it in the dirt, but like I'm in that car, like I don't think it'd ever hurt me, like for some reason. I'm not afraid of it. I mean,
It's almost like you're one with it.
Yeah, I mean it's all crossed up doing this and grabbing the next gear, and it just goes.
You know where it's about to go.
Mm-hmm. I know when it's time
You know
to
how
live.
far you can push it.
Yeah, I know exactly how far I can push that car.
That's something I can kind of relate to because I remember when I first started racing again and we got the Falcon, I hadn't raced my truck. It hit my Blue S10 had been down for, almost a year and a half. I hadn't raced in so long. I was like, God, I hope I can still drive a car. Like, let alone I'm going from a 570 nitrous street truck to something that with the right, with everything going right and the car working.
Faster.
Yeah, like way faster. And I just, over time, I quickly, I don't know how, I mean, I just watching Billy drive and watching my dad race growing up, it came easy, but, I've never felt like me being in that car, I've never been scared of that car. Like, I know I can go down a lane A to B every time, no worry. But I've scared, I don't know if I've scared you a couple times. I know I've scared my dad a few times. He's like, man, I thought that car was going to get away from you. I was like,
I really don't feel like, for the most part, driving can be taught. I think it's something you're almost born with. It's like almost ingrained in your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Every single pass you make in a car is just adds to the chemistry of you and your car.
Yeah.
And, and we race so much, it's easy to start building up data. And, that's a lot of it too, is just not putting in a stupid tune-up in it and make the car react in stupid ways. I'm lucky enough to have a good enough tuner here that I trust him every single time I let go of the button. The Falcon's probably spun off the line one, maybe two times I've ever had to pedal it in the first 60 feet. Probably once ever.
That's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. You know, sometimes I don't want to put too spicy of a tune-up in it because I don't ever want to get him hurt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I want him to win.
Well, here's a good question. Out of all the races that he's been in and going through rounds, is there ever a tune-up that would have been different if you were driving compared to him?
That's a good question.
As I get more confident with him behind the wheel, as he gets more laps, I definitely put tune-ups in it that I would put in if I was driving. But near the beginning, I was definitely more conservative. You know what I mean?
First of all, I would just like to say that if I'm not comfortable with what I think he's going to put in it, I've told him before, like if we're at Brown County...
I always tell him what I'm putting in it. I say, I got you 30 I got you 30 programmed in the ramp, and I got you 5 extra on the scramble. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. He always knows what he's going into before it happens.
See, that was my problem with my car. You wouldn't tell me. I would talk to Eddie, and he'd tell me what he was putting in it, and then you talk to him afterwards, and you'd be like, hey, put a little more in it, and you wouldn't fucking tell me.
It's just a half a degree
And
or something, but...
Sometimes
Yeah,
people get
I
psyched
just
out.
wanna
You don't
know.
want to tell them.
I don't get psyched out at all. I don't know why you would like.
Well, Eddie
He's
would
trying
usually
to
ask.
slide it in there as like a secret.
Yeah.
I think.
Like,
Well,
just
no,
surprise me
because
with it.
here's the thing, Eddie with the other guy, he wasn't used to your style, so towards the end,
I feel like Eddie was intimidated by tuning for a girl.
because he would always
in the
like
beginning.
with Kelly or Brian, he goes, "Are you scared, fool?" And we're like, "No," and then he'd put more in it. With her, he never did that. Like it was just okay.
No, I
put
think he was just a little intimidated.
And
Like,
I'd
he
say
would-
no, put more in it. Like let's go, let's get her down. Let's get this down. Either she's gonna wheelie it, crash it, or do something. So let's fucking go. Like I want to figure out the limits. I need to do this. I mean, why it ended up crashing at the end? Well, it had nothing to do with the tune-up. It was just,
Yeah, it just washed out on the big end.
Just track conditions.
but
That's got to be one of the scariest things. Like, I don't ever get scared about wrecking any of the cars I've ever driven. Like, I trust my driving ability, and I know, like, when to let off. Like, I'm not trying to do hero shit most of the time. But seeing some cars like your wreck, where it was just like, what the hell could you have done different? It's like,
Nothing.
those are what scare me the most. Is one day it's just gonna be like,
There
there's
are
nothing I
times
could have done.
like EJ. EJ worked for Vibrant, and his crash actually scared me. He blew a head gasket.
yeah,
He blew a head gasket at the top end and blew water out and just went right into the wall. And that's something that really scared me before I even crashed. Just something that's out of your control that happens. It's something that'll take your confidence out of racing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that can be avoided. Like if you overdrove the car and drove into the wall, that's something that the next time out you can be like, oh, okay, just don't
Yeah.
overdrive it. Just let out when you
Absolutely.
should. But when you blow a head gasket at the top end, there's nothing you can do. Absolutely
I'm sure
nothing
Billy
you can
has
do.
something to say about that too.
it's the
I
same
mean,
thing.
Yeah, when you crash and there's nothing
the only
you can
thing
do,
you can
it's-
do is, it's not if, it's when. It's gonna happen at least once in
Exactly.
your career. So you can minimize. You can do everything you can to minimize the probability of it happening, and
Which-
that's good.
Which is why when you guys are racing, the stuff I've learned with her car and I've seen, that's why like put your burn down tubes to the back, put your water tanks all the way to the back, like just do certain
Use
things.
AN fittings.
Yeah, use AN things because this
Instead
is
of
gonna
hose.
minimize stupid shit happening. Because I've had hoses blow off and I crashed. And there's things that I learned on her car to make it safer. And I'm like, when I see you guys, because your guys' cars are getting faster and faster, you're not gonna stay just going X amount of speed. You're always gonna want to go faster, especially now. Like you guys gonna go faster and faster. So things are gonna happen a lot quicker. When you put a bunch of power in the Falcon, it's going this way or that way much faster than it did before all that. Things happen a lot quicker. So
I think for the longest time I thought it would never happen. And I think it happens to a lot of people.
you get really comfortable.
And then it happened in the Nova, and then I started thinking about the truck more. I don't ever want to wreck that thing. So I started, what do I need to do to make this not ever happen again or minimize the risk of it happening?
Yeah, I mean, when you're young, you don't think about the stuff. Oh, look at this Mountain Dew can for overflow, we're fine. Or this will be fine. But for the speed you were going, it may have been fine. But as soon as you start cranking on shit, head gaskets can blow, this can happen, and push water. Like,
It's not just when you're young. It's
In
just
my
when,
case, it was a total freak thing with the Nova.
yeah.
it's not just
It
that,
was
but
just,
when you've been racing for so long and nothing's gone wrong, you build a confidence. Every pass that you make, that nothing happens.
yeah.
You build a confidence that nothing's gonna happen, and then something happens, and it kind of makes you step back and think like, things can go wrong. Things out
Yeah.
of my control can happen that'll put me into a wall. Things that'll make something go sideways, and you kind of rethink things like getting an X Gen or getting
Next gen.
just taking
Safety
more
equipment,
precaution.
Yeah.
When you're street racing and nothing goes wrong and you're doing wheelies through intersections against Porsches, like you don't
feeling
think
like Superman after a while.
with no helmet,
Yeah.
Yeah, that car had no bar in it then.
no roll bar, no helmet, no neck brace,
cage,
no
no
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely
let's go.
nothing.
And
During
it's
the Porsche, it didn't have a cage or
no,
nothing.
nothing. No helmet. I just had a fucking.
It was just a
stock
dude in
belt.
the car.
And then I put everything in it because of Street Outlaws. They made me put a bar in it to go through safety.
And you
check.
complained.
Yeah.
You didn't like it.
No, but it's.
They made you put a bar in your car and you're like, fuck this. I gotta wear a helmet. Screw
Well,
this. This is terrible.
It also changed the dynamic on the car left. So, car's set up a certain way, and then we had to weld a cage in it, or bar, that one's got a 5-point. And it was just perfect because that happened, and then we couldn't test, it rained. Well, the first day it was dry, everyone that was associated with Street Outlaws that was on the road got to test all day. We didn't get to test. There was nowhere for us to test on a road that was not that good.
Yeah.
So when we got on the road, we did our burnouts, and then we just went. The car just drove right, and never did that. It was because of the cage. If I would have had one pass to get it right, that's all I would have needed, one launch, and then shut it down, and then I could have went. But I don't know if it would have changed the outcome, but it definitely would have been a lot better for making a full pass through all the gears.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Nobody remembers you for Street Outlaws, though, anyway. We remember you for the real stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I even watched the episode.
Everybody remembers the Porsche.
TV does, back then, we're just dumb street racers that ended up, we're on TV now. Like, that's cool, but after looking back, it's like, yeah, just do your thing and don't change what you're doing just to be on television, and don't overact, and don't do something with your car that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Just do your thing. Just go have fun.
I hate to be a dick and interrupt, but we do have our mouse mascot in the Airbnb tonight. We have a mouse running around the table legs.
I got a video of it, don't worry.
I will put it in the video.
Yeah, he's in there. He took a french fry.
Got Templeton in the house.
Bolton, little Stewart.
Where's
Stuart
Charlotte's Web?
Allison, I got a total video of him taking the french fry. Don't worry about it.
But I've definitely paid attention to how you guys run your program, and how easy, how much fun it was to just go race. You guys have definitely sparked another interest in, like, when we go back home, to go do more stuff on the street, and just to go out and just have fun, like with my dad's car or her car, or her little street car. Like,
Yeah,
I see
things
how,
got so serious for us for so long that it was nice to kind of take a step back and just do the street stuff and buy the
See
white
how
car.
laid back we
and
are with stuff.
yeah,
It's kinda- we
the
kinda
first
mixed
time we
everything
came
together.
out with you guys, the first time that we came out and stayed at your dad's, and like it was like a vacation to us.
Yeah.
It wasn't like going out to race. Like racing kind of felt like a job to us for a long time, and coming out and waking up at like 11 o'clock and staying up till 6 o'clock in the morning and just racing and doing whatever we wanted, and just going out to the street and just screwing off basically.
Yeah.
It was like
We like to have
a
fun.
vacation.
Having fun
It was
is
relaxing and it was fun and it was
Even though we
fantastic.
worked on the cars all day and then went out and street
Yeah,
raced.
it's fine,
it was
though.
fun. Like, it was like,
Like we go to a radio race and it's like you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning so you can go get everything done to fix the car and get everything ready. You go to the track and you race until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you get up at 8 the next morning so you can go to Summit and buy the parts that you broke and go fix things and go work on things and go make sure everything's okay. It's like, it's a job. It's like a 16-hour a day job when you go radial racing.
And
But when we come out and visit you guys, it's like,
firsthand.
it's relaxing. It kind of made us take a step back and realize that you have to enjoy what you're doing.
Having fun is so important, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And
if
usually
there
when
isn't
we're having fun, we do the best.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing: with all the money and time that goes into this now, I mean, because it's not cheap. No matter what your cars or what we're racing or the street cars, there's money involved in time. You have to make sure you're having fun. No matter what you're doing, whether it's cars or whatever hobby you have to make sure that it's fun. Because or else you wouldn't do it. Like, why would you put a bunch of time and money into something when you're not having fun?
That's a huge struggle in the last few years with things just keep getting faster and faster, and it's harder for the average guy that doesn't make all the money in the world to go out and justify racing every weekend. And it's been, I feel bad. I just feel like, I don't know what it's like for other people in other states, but in Ohio, the car counts have gone down.
But they haven't really gone down that much, though. Honestly, racing is still thriving. It's just you got to find your place where you fit in. If your budget is, a certain amount a month, you need to race, in that respective class. Like, there's bracket racing, there's index racing. I didn't start out heads up racing. I started in junior dragsters, and I started racing super pro and box class. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff, it usually only costs $40 to $50 to enter the class, and you're racing for $2-3 grand on a normal weekend.
You don't necessarily have to have a real fast car too. Like when your dad has the Malibu, when you first started doing it, was a high 12-second car, and he's out there going rounds and bracket classes and having fun.
There's nothing wrong with starting out that way.
It's like, you look at how easy that is to go racing with that car or our white car that we have at your house. Stuff like that is so easy, but like Eddie's car, it's a process. We're driving to a race with a truck and trailer and car that's probably worth $200,000. Gas and everything. It's just insane the amount of parts and at that caliber. It's very stressful. And sometimes it's like, why are we doing this? Unloading all the shit. We're going across the country, but then once you make a pass in the car and you make that pass where it's just like it's pulling that much G's for that long and it feels that way, it's like it's
mid to like 4-second pass.
It just
like, okay, this is why.
This exactly, and it's crazy because the more money and time you spend to do it, the less time you spend in the vehicle you're doing it with. So that's like your 12-second car you used to have fun with is in the quarter, and now you don't go quarter anymore. You go eighth, and then your eighth mile car is
less time to work on it, more time on the track making the pass.
Your 10-second car that you drive to the track and race, you spend so much time in it and so little time working on it. And there's less time and less money put into it and more fun that you get out of it. But this radial car, we spend 48 hours driving from California to Georgia to go to this race. You spend a total of 15 seconds total in 3 passes to take it down the track.
And it's no fun for you because you're not even in the car
Less
with me.
Less than 15.
I can't even strap you in.
It's exciting watching you go down and go that fast and seeing how excited you are afterwards. But it's literally 15 seconds that you spend or less in the car and going down. And
it's not just that you'll drive halfway across the country. It's the full way across the country.
We get there, we change injectors, we do an oil change, we do all these things to get this car ready. We spend hours upon hours getting this car ready and driving across the country and unloading 2 hours to unload the trailer.
Because we have spare transmission,
everything. Spare transmission, spare converter, spare injector, spare everything.
One pass I did.
Yeah, we made one hit.
And it's like, oh, that was so awesome.
Can I ask a serious question?
Yeah.
What is more rewarding, like, to win in something as simple as the white Mustang at like a backwards race in the stick shift class? What is more rewarding for you to win in something like that, or to put in all that work and get one round win in a radial class?
That's hard comparison because it's two totally. It's like enjoying a burrito that you like from Taco Bell that's really tasty, and then enjoying a $50 steak at the next night at a place where you get an awesome steak. You know, like, man, that was a really. The next day after you eat both of those meals, you're hungry again anyways. So what does it matter? It's the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's the experience that you get from each one, which are totally different.
So the experience of going to that race at Kate E and watching you win was more enjoyable than going to the race we went to with that gray car that he raced, and we made it one round and the race was called and we technically won because we got paid out because they called it. But watching you win a 46 car field was so exciting to me, but watching him technically win because they called the race after we made it past first round was boring. That was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
And you guys were a huge part in that win, both of you guys. I mean, between him giving advice and, I mean, you guys are
It's
always...
everybody. It takes a whole team. It's really hard to do this stuff on your own. There's guys that attempt to do it, and they have different crews every time they go to the track. They have different people lining them up and doing burnout. You know, it never works. It never works.
It's a niche that you guys got to come into, and maybe that's why Eddie likes me to drive or allows me to drive him, because he knows I'm careful with this car and I'm really diligent in the car as far as reaction times, and I pride myself in how good I can drive, and I always want to get better. So being around you and you that are good drivers, okay, well, what can I teach you? What can I learn? You know, I'm not only giving my advice, but I'm learning something from you guys too each time we go out. And then when we're around somebody else, maybe in the future, maybe they're going to give us some advice, and I can get even better. You know, you take from each person, each group or each person or each car or each whatever, and you can get better and better and better.
Yeah. It's just like before I go out on the track and do my burnout, you coming up in the door and telling me, hey, cut this fucking tree down, you know, and I execute.
Don't do that to me, because
No,
I'm going to be
don't
late
do
as
that
hell,
to Tom.
or I'm going red.
Because you say that, and I literally zone in,
Yeah.
and it's just, I'm going to do it.
It
There's no other option.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what she did to me. Because, I mean, I'm just dicking around and like,
I'm sorry.
not qualifying, it's
Wait,
just testing. I'm just dicking around.
You got excited about an 065.
But I was like 050, 060, like, consistently.
I don't care.
And I'm like, look at that, that's not bad, you know?
You
and,
got so
and-
excited about an 065.
And she's like, you suck. I think that's what you told me. You're like, you suck. You can do better than that. If you don't, you suck even more. And I'm like, it was something like that. Was like you just.
I'm sorry, but we do 020s or better. That's it.
There you
That's,
go.
there it is. And she's
That's
like,
it.
do better. And I'm
Don't
like,
get
okay.
excited about an 065 when we do 020s or better.
What do you enjoy better, going off of a tree or going off of a flashlight on the street? Or on an arm drop or whatever?
It's
No,
all, I
okay.
just want to be the best at it
This
no matter what it is.
This guy enjoys going off of somebody else's taillights. That's it.
Like giving somebody the move.
Yeah.
Seeing how fast you can catch them.
He likes showing someone that giving them the move meant absolutely nothing.
I remember showing Kelly, he was 17 years old, and he was actually racing the Grey Mare before it was mine. A guy named Ruben owned it. And it was a mid to low 11-second car on the motor. And Kelly's car was like a low 11-second car on the motor too. And Kelly's 17, just still in high school. We trailered down to this race about an hour from where we live. And the Lunchy's there negotiating the race. And anyways, the car that he raced, Ruben, got to go. And I just remember telling Kelly, just like I would tell you in the car, I said, Kelly, just get, what RPM do you leave at? He's like, 4,500 or 5. And I said, get that there. And he had to flash his lights to let him know. And I said, don't look at as soon as you got your eyes on the tack and you're zoned in, don't look at the tack and look at his fender. Don't take your fucking eye off his fender and flash your lights and just zone in. And he nailed it, man. Dude left. Kelly was right with him, and then they were like going, and he nipped him right at the end and beat him by like a fender. And it was like such a badass race for a stick shift car to stick shift car. A 17-year-old kid is racing, and he did exactly what I recommended him doing, and he executed it perfectly. And that's why I love that kid, man. He just did awesome, and it was really good to see that win. That's how he drives. He reminds me, like I've told you that. You and him reminded me of each other. Like he gets in his black car and he just wheels that fucking thing. He's all over the place because he's been with it since he was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah. He shouldn't have to wheel that thing the way he does, though.
I think he enjoys it half the time.
He's like a cowboy on a bull in that thing, and he should be on like a nicely trained horse, but he's on a bull.
Yeah. That car's just wild.
So out of all the AV boys, how many left still race?
Kelly, 100% does.
Him, Kelly, Brian.
Or, Ice Cube.
What does
Kelly.
AV stand for?
Antelope Valley.
Oh, okay.
So Copper Top still races every now and then, but he does mostly like a crew chief or who he does stuff with. Rich Hoyle with Greyhound, he still races.
He took a break.
He just took a little break off because
that thing is nasty.
He took a year off, but he still has a car.
Yeah, cars.
I'll never get rid of that
Lunchy just wants to go street racing, but everyone, as you get older, things happen. People have kids and stuff. We all still talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's just not on a daily like it used to, which is normal. I mean, life happens,
Right.
Not everybody has the opportunity to just fly to Ohio every fucking month and hang out with their other family.
Yeah, and street racing has changed a lot since you were in the game, I think.
Yeah, well, Lunchy and I talked about this all the time too, is the game out there in California, which the cars were slow. I mean, come on. The street racing as a whole, most of the cars were just slow before Street Outlaws came around. And they were slow because it's a negotiating state. You have a blue car with a big block and a 10-inch tire, and I have this tire and this, and so give me space and this and that. So
yeah, it wasn't who's faster.
You negotiate your slower car to win rather than
who was the better talker.
Exactly, and that happened for years and years and years. That's why we were able to beat a lot of people. I had the mentality as I want to go faster. I want to be better every single time I go out. The car never stayed the same. The gray car was never the same from one race to the next. I'd always get it back. Okay, what else can I do to it? And I'd put this in it, and I'd build another motor, and I would lighten it up more, and I'd put a better.
I never saw you get in the move.
Never. It was always
you take it.
No.
But it wasn't like you negotiated it.
No, he wouldn't take it. There's no way.
So, I mean, then over time, shootouts started happening, and let me rewind a little bit, but that's why when Street Outlaws came out and Chief and all them, they wiped everybody up because it was just a bunch of 10-second cars racing cars that go 550s, 50s and faster in the eighth, and they just mopped through everybody. And, nobody around us was used to that.
Yeah.
I mean, because...
You guys were racing heads up.
Well, think about it.
Flashlight.
In Oklahoma, that's all they did was race each other.
Yeah.
So they'd always race each other with no space, and they constantly got faster. That's how you get faster. You get beat, you come back the next week and try and be better than that person.
Mm-hmm. And California was always a game. It was always, you give me the space and then maybe I'll beat you.
I wonder why certain areas are like that somewhere.
Yeah, Texas, the Central is crazy. The Central
New York
states
is like that too.
Yeah, Central
all
states.
All the coastal states do the hustle shit.
Yeah, all the liberal states, right?
Well, all the crazy asses.
Yeah, so the Central states where they get down, Oklahoma, and probably up in Ohio. I don't know how it was years ago.
Yeah, it's changed over time. It used to be chases a race and all that stuff.
See, I hate that shit.
Before camera phones.
I hate chases a race.
When you were growing up watching your dad, how they do it? Did they use flashlights or chase?
Point drop, and it was just basically the races were only for a few $100, maybe $5.
So it wasn't that
serious.
Yeah, I think $20.
It was like a cheeseburger or nothing.
But they would just race.
If you jumped, it was very visible. And if you didn't, no one really cared.
Yeah, you just 100%. Now you could win a race, and the person that you beat is going to argue and say, "No, that bird flew over. I'm not paying you today because that I got my way and I couldn't do this and I wasn't ready. And it's like, what?
Yeah, but now California, it's like, oh no, I wasn't ready. You didn't wait for me to get ready. Oh, I'm gonna pull my gun on you, so I don't have to pay you. It's terrible. Yeah. Street racing in California has gone downhill like crazy.
But the
in the
cars
last 5
are faster
years.
now. You know, all those guys that are doing it now, their cars are way faster.
Yeah, you used to try a lot harder to go 10s in a car. Now you just have to put nitrous on your Coyote. That's it.
Seems like there's been a lot more shootouts lately than in the past, so which that helps, you know.
Mm-hmm. It does, but Lunchy is like.
He's a shootout hater.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Absolutely, he likes the negotiation of it.
Shootouts aren't fun to attend. They're fun to win at the end of the night, but
because your $300 investment got you $4,000.
Yeah,
but
and it takes all night, sometimes 2 nights.
But when you're doing that one hit for 7,000 or 8,000, and it's just one, there's no test pass. Because as you're doing a shootout, you make it past first round, and you can adapt then. But that one pass where like, is this gray car gonna wheelie? Is he gonna spin? There's $7,000 on each side, $14,000 pot. Like, is it gonna go down? Am I gonna miss a gear?
That's true street racing.
That's real street racing. You know, your test pass was the last time you were on that road 2 weeks ago racing somebody else, or maybe you went down there in the middle of the night and tested like we used to.
But California's terrible now. They hold a shootout, but they tell you where the road is the week before. So everybody's out on that road testing the week before. They ruin the spot. The cops come as soon as everybody shows up for the shootout.
And they light it on fire.
Yeah, so they have a shootout. They tell everybody where the road's going to be. They meet up at a separate location, tell everybody to go to the road. They haven't pulled chips yet. They wait till they get to the road. They pull chips, and then the cops show up. Because everyone's been testing all day long on that road, and they show up while we're pulling chips. Like, it's just,
not every area has a limpy.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Not
I was
just
like,
that,
Yeah,
Lunchy is a genius at throwing a race. He threw a race where there was probably 1,000 spectators, and it went off flawlessly because he was organized. And Limpy is just as talented as Lunchy is with throwing a race, but Lunchy doesn't like the
stress.
Not just the stress. He doesn't like the accountability that comes with throwing a race. He's scared that if someone gets hurt at a race, that it's going to be on him, and he doesn't want to be responsible for something like that. It's not.
That's understandable.
Yeah, you don't want to throw a race and have someone's injury or someone's death on.
But at the same time, it's their choice. You know, they're the ones that want to strap in.
Yeah. But street racing and back of the track racing, that's all fun. I mean, obviously we do both right now. I mean, hopped out of the radio car and now we're going to come out to...
I like it all. Man.
all right, so we've been going for about an hour and 7 minutes now, so we'll start, I guess, closing out a little bit so we don't go too long. But so what does the future hold for you guys? What are your goals right now? Like, what does the next few years look like for you guys?
Building a shop, and I'm really excited.
Building a shop, having you guys come out at some point.
Love to come out.
Yeah,
never been out west. Never been further than Oklahoma.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Having you guys come out.
Even if it's just for vacation, it'd be nice to have you guys out. I would for racing.
The shop's going to allow us to get all the projects. We don't just have, we have the white car. That's at Billy's. We have my other white car, the Snowflake, which I'm going to get the chassis done, and that's going to be either a blower or nitrous car. I haven't decided yet.
We have the other white car that's going to be a Coyote turbo car.
And then we have my dad's olds, which that can be more accessible to take out more out. The shop is going to allow us to have these cars because they're all stashed in trailers, and it's hard to pull a trailer out and do all this stuff. But those cars are going to be easier accessible. And then she's building her other Maverick, just like her black one.
My other Maverick, my other Maverick, and then the other Maverick.
Yeah, so she's probably going to have the fast one, which will be the black one, then another one that's identical to it, which is going to be, which she already has, which is her stick shift one. And then she's going to build another one, like probably, I think you said Coyote in that one, maybe.
Yeah, turbo, probably,
Okay.
maybe. I
The
don't
gray
know.
car you've been racing have any influence on that?
No, I think.
always
No,
kinda
we've
wanted to
kind of
do it.
always planned to do like a giant turbo on a Coyote motor in his it's a 4-cylinder Mustang. It looks exactly like the Snowflake.
Yeah.
But his plan has always been to do a giant turbo on a Coyote. A
You
stick
got
shift.
a lot of projects just like me.
Yeah. And the Mare, which I've had this question a lot, like, you ever gonna put a stick shift back in it? What are you gonna do with it? Like, the Mare is just. I
The
don't know.
plan has always been to put a stick shift back in it, but we just
The pedal assembly is still there. It's the extra 2 or 3 pounds of a pedal assembly that I didn't cut out of that car.
it's a really good chassis to break records with, and we kind of want to dominate some records first, and then we'll put it back to the fun side.
Lunch even was like, maybe we should put a LS in there and break the LS nitrous
No,
record. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll go that far with it, but that car weighs 1,990 pounds, and I can get a lighter.
1994.
1994, and I can get a lighter than that. There's
Yeah,
still
just-
more.
just put
It was.
put
We
in a
weighed it
little
in 1994, and it
museum.
still had
Just,
plastics in it.
you know, it's legendary.
We know the guy,
It's
so-
done its job.
It's done its job.
We
Yeah.
know the guy that has the very last produced 5.0 302 motor. He has it like in his house.
Yeah, he does.
So if you could take that engine and put it in the Mare, just put it in a museum.
Has the Mare ever lost a street race?
One.
So no, there's actually 2.
2. Okay,
So,
since you owned it,
Out of probably how many?
oh,
hundreds.
I went hundreds. I probably street raced that car against somebody probably 50 or 60 times.
Like actually
I have
lost?
countless test passes
Yeah.
and everything, but so the first time it was like its debut before we were anything. I raced Izzy. Izzy had a CTSV, and I raced him on Santa Fernando Road. This is a long time ago, and I broke second gear in the trans, and he beat me. So that's not like an all-out race. I was already ahead of him. I mean,
Yeah.
I was already out on him. I gapped him and everything got them by the 60, and then it broke the trans. It's right when I put into second, it broke, and then so he beat me there, and then that caused numerous races where I whipped his ass later on because I never wanted to lose again. So I never lost another race since then except for Chuck on Street Outlaws, but that car never was beat. It never lost a race.
Yeah.
Countless races.
It always performed.
It always performed perfectly every time, I must say. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but probably just keep it around. I just heard something. Just keep it around doing its thing. And,
Yeah. Maybe break a few more records with it.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to drive it now, and she's lighter. I don't need to drive as much. I'll drive Eddie's car, but I mean, at the pad, I'll drive the white car, street racing. But like everything else, like I'd want her to drive. I don't need to drive as much. I've driven a lot, so unless it really needs for me to be there, and it will.
So my one last big question, I guess, is do you envision moving out of California and moving out this way at all, or?
It's another question that we get hit with a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
If we ever get
Probably
to the
the
point
most
where
question.
we could have like vacation homes, I think we would definitely get one out in Ohio because we visit you guys so much. But
I just know, like, of all the people I've talked to that have been to California or live in California, they're like, yeah, I gotta get out of here, man.
it's okay. The
They're always
geography is
traveling,
really nice.
Their home is wherever they are.
Yeah,
We don't have a huge overhead. I mean, that's why we're able to do what we do.
Yeah, the geography of California is nice. The people are not so nice, but just the area that we're in isn't the best town to be in, but we're an hour away in every direction to something that's cool to be around. And we travel a lot, so it's not like we're home a lot. I just listed all the trips that we did in 2022, and it was like 27 different races not in California that we went to last year, and it was just
It's a lot.
like where we live, I guess, doesn't really matter because we've been to 27 different places.
I mean,
That's over 2 places per month that
we're coming
we're
out for Christmas, and that's for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time.
2 weeks out of a 30-day span.
As long as you're able to do it, you know.
It's rough. We have to do a lot of stuff at
A
home.
lot of sacrifice.
It is, but while we have the money and the time, and we don't have kids, we just have cars.
Right.
There's just 27 races, and none of them are closer than Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but definitely Ohio is a spot that I never thought I'd be visiting as much as we are. I mean, I thought, who the fuck goes to Ohio?
Yeah,
A couple idiot
what
kids.
the
live
heck
there,
is in
but-
Ohio? There's nothing in Ohio except it's the prettiest place we've been to. Like the scenery there is
Really?
absolutely
It's
gorgeous.
pretty nice in the summertime.
Yeah, you guys live in.
No, it's pretty nice in the spring, summer, and fall.
It is.
So you guys had no idea that, we have
A lot of people don't realize how good they have it in Ohio. They hate on it, but then, if you
every
go out
weekend
there-
there's
Honestly, a
10
lot of
tracks to
Ohio
race
hate.
at.
Yeah.
There's a ton of Ohio hate, not from Ohio people, but just
I
from
love our state, just not in the
the whole
winter.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to California, I can drive 2 hours south to San Diego, and it's 75 degrees there year round. Like
Yeah.
you can go in the water in November, in December. It's just really pretty, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna buy anything. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Keep
What's
floating around.
Keep on floating around.
Well, it was a pleasure having you guys on. I appreciate you coming on for our first one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoy. Leave us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like.
You guys have any sponsors you guys would like to shout out?
Pro Charger.
Pro Charger, Vibrant, Red Horse, Team Z, Nitrous Express,
Optic Armor.
Optic Armor, SI Valves.
Ted's Carburetor Shop.
Ted's Carburetor Shop, baby.
Ted's Carb Shop, Lunchbox.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
He
forget.
needs to get
Mentor
back on his lives.
Motorsports.
I used to like when he did his
Definitely
lives
Mentor
from Ted's.
Motorsports. Carburetors and cuss words.
Yeah.
Carburetor.
Carburetor Chronicles.
No,
Wait.
carburetors and cuss words.
Carburetor Chronicles. Yeah, some Metzer, Team Z. Anything else that we have? Team Z's a big one.
Team Z is a big one.
Hopefully have some more tomorrow after PRI day 2.
A new one, Aeromotive.
Yeah, Aeromotive. Jump in.
Aeromotive.
Aeromotive
Matt.
is a great one.
So, go from there.
I'm really excited to go to Aeromotive and meet them. So, I met Matt that works at Aeromotive a year ago at PRI, and I didn't go to Aeromotive thinking maybe I should talk to them about being a potential sponsor. I was just I like Aeromotive. I run their product on all of my cars, my street car to my race car, and I was just talking to someone there to see what they thought I should run on the new car, and I ended up probably wasting an hour of Matt's time just picking his brain about what he does there, because he wasn't even he's not marketing, he's not sales, he's not, I wouldn't say he's the person to talk to if you're looking for
He
a
just knows.
sponsorship, but he's in the R&D, and he knows the actual, he knows what goes into all these pumps to find out what they need to run the race cars and get the cars that are dealing with high G's and high just the maximum effort from a pump that you need. And I was just having a good conversation with him about how they put a pump inside a fuel cell and take that fuel cell while the pump is running and throw it downhill and just see if it's still going to run at the bottom of the hill. And I was just intrigued, and I wasted half his day just picking his brain about that. But
There's a lot of stuff to learn out here.
Yeah.
PRI.
You
Very
need to
fortunate
come
to be
here
able to
with
be out here.
an open book, You're just ready to learn.
yeah, I don't come here looking to find sponsors to try and further my project. I come here to to learn more about the products that people have and see.
Learn how you can make your program better.
Exactly.
Just get more insight on how products work and how I can kind of apply them to my project, which is a very, very huge project
Yeah, big.
at the moment. Yeah.
Well, what do you say we get some rest for day 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for bed.
Let's
All right,
do it.
guys. Thank you guys so much for doing this first podcast. I don't even know. Hopefully the audio sounds good. This is our first thing. Like,
Yeah.
We're the guinea
That's
pigs.
terrible.
We'll back it up another night in Ohio if we have to.
Yeah.
hopefully everything sounds good. I have no idea. It was, hopefully everything is good.
If it's terrible, you'll never see this, but it's fine.
We started out a little sloppy, but everybody's
We
good
pulled
now.
it together.
Pulled it together.
We all sobered up after we got here.
I was a little worried. Everybody came in like, let's do this podcast. And I was like, oh man, I wanted the first one to be like super professional.
Are you
not
okay with
like,
it now? Your honest
Oh, yeah,
opinion?
we're
It's real, baby.
Yeah, it's
No,
real.
you can delete this
We
whole
are-
thing. It's fine.
No.
This isn't a facade. This is how it is.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope you come back for our next one. Got some big plans coming up, and we can't wait to show you guys what we have in store.
Good deal.
Later.
Goodbye.
Hello.
Shut up.
Goodbye.